1 year on YouTube. That's what today is, my digital anniversary. Well, assuming of course I finish this video on time and get it uploaded. But what has my first year on YouTube been like? What challenges have I faced? And best yet, what have I learned? The funny thing about YouTube is that literally anyone with a smartphone can start their own channel. It may not be very good, but any person can record and upload videos as long as they have an internet connection and a device that handles the YouTube app. This is significant because it means that YouTube can easily be flooded by a massive amount of people all wanting to be the next PewDiePie. So standing out in the crowd means that you not only have to be unique, but you also have to be better. On December 13th, 2014, I created my YouTube channel. At the time of recording this video, a year later, I have almost 11,600 subscribers with over 1.5 million views. I know it's not the fastest growing YouTube channel or anything, but for what it's worth, I feel like I've done fairly well during my first year. I still have a lot of room to grow and improve, but overall, it's been a pretty good start. So I guess that leads me into how I started my YouTube channel. I literally only had an iPhone 6 Plus. It was enough to get me started, but it was definitely not very good quality. Not to mention the audio was terrible without an external microphone. Take this video as an example. This was my very first video I ever created and uploaded to YouTube. You won't find it in my videos list because it was so bad I decided to just consider it a test video, and I marked it as private. They're actually able to shoot boats, missiles, drones, probably anything they can point it at with this thing, and it's very accurate and it seems to be pretty good. So yeah, the video quality is pretty bad. Audio was even worse, and I was new to everything and basically had no idea what I was doing. After that, my first official NewsBit video was a lot better, but compared to now, it's still pretty bad. USB Type-C has been lurking around in the development shadows for a while now. You may not have heard a lot about it, but I'll tell you why you should be excited. So after starting my journey, I first looked at lighting. I started with cheap lights from Lowe's that just clicked onto some homemade stands I made, but later moved on to real studio lights. Although they were the cheapest I could find, they were still one of my best investments. Then I had to find a good place to stand. Now I know that sounds a little weird, but as it turns out, a boring gray wall is even more boring on camera. I tried to get creative by using my TV as a green screen, but then I decided to paint a wall in a spare bedroom to green. Until eventually I just spent the money and bought a real green screen. Funny thing is, the real green screen wasn't actually that expensive. I think it was only like $50. So if I had any advice to give, I would just say try not to go the cheap route and save yourself the hassle, if you want a green screen, of course. One of my biggest flaws throughout all of this was my video quality. Using my iPhone has its limitations. I used an app that I found that allowed me to squeeze just a little bit more quality out of it, but in the end an upgrade was needed. This is where my biggest purchase came with the Sony AX100 4K camera. Costing me a little over $2,000 with some additional accessories, the Sony AX100 ushered in a new era of high quality footage. Now, I don't need to spend that much money on a camera, but I felt as if I needed to invest in something that would last for a long time. Moving on to my next hurdle was audio. This is something I wish I would have tackled right from the start. You can have the world's greatest video setup with the best studio, but if you have terrible audio, it's going to ruin it for your viewers. A lot of my earlier videos had pretty bad audio, and I really regret waiting so long to fix it. I was able to make a huge difference with a cheap $25 lav mic off of Amazon. Then later I moved to a much better setup with a mid-range recorder and a Rode NTG2 shotgun mic. The problem after this was that the room I used for recording had some issues with echoing, and since I had such a good mic, it really showed up. So I had to dampen the sound with moving blankets. You can check out a video here about that. I can say I instantly felt better about my videos after making the change in audio quality, and I should note that my cheap sound dampening actually worked like a charm. So if I had to add this all up, I would say that to the point I'm at now, starting my YouTube channel cost me a little over $3,000. This is a number I definitely did not expect when I first started, and to be honest, it could have been much lower if I would have gone with a cheaper camera. But while we're on topic of money and cameras, I can say that without external sponsorship, new YouTube channels like mine do not make very much money. When I was shopping for a camera, I had my AdSense account payout threshold set to only $100. It took me 3 months to reach that goal. So when I picked out my camera, I did so with the idea of shooting weddings on the side to help pay for it. This was the best thing I could have done because with the widespread use of ad block and my lack of subscriber base, I couldn't really count on YouTube for any kind of usable income. Overall, I feel that my improvement in quality, both video and audio, has made great strides over the last year. I now make content that is easy to watch and doesn't annoy people with blurry footage or crappy sound. If I could go back to day one, I would tell myself this. First off, buy a cheap lav mic that plugs into your phone. Then spend the money for some decent lights and find a good place to do your videos. From there, just save up your money until you can afford a better camera. If I would have followed that path from the beginning, my journey would have been a lot smoother and some of my earlier videos would have been a lot higher quality. But we all learn and grow in our own way, so I don't regret anything. Now let's talk about content. I started YouTube with the purpose of creating tutorials and demonstrations related to Plex, but I also wanted to cover news related to technology and science because, well, I found that kind of stuff really interesting. I like the daily news shows from NCIX, but I usually only find one story a day from them as interesting. I love tech shows from people like Linus, Paul, Logan, Jerry, and Jay, but those all last for 1 to 2 hours and I just don't have the attention span to watch them all the time. So this is why I decided to do a short news recap series once a week every Tuesday. And the funny thing about it is that even though it's only once a week, I actually have a little difficulty sometimes to find stories that I feel are worth talking about. Not to mention that since I only do it once a week, some really good stories that are out get talked about to death by everyone else. So I try not to include those either. Now, considering those shows usually net less than 1,000 views each, it's safe to say that they're not terribly popular. But I'm coming up on my 52nd episode, and I really enjoy doing them, so I don't think I'm going to stop doing them anytime soon. My real breadwinners, though, are my videos about Plex. Before me, there wasn't really any tech channel dedicated to Plex, even though it's a popular platform. So I was able to share what I have learned over the years, and it's proven to be successful. My best Plex video is titled Starting Your Plex Media Server, Everything You Need to Know, with over 190,000 views. It's actually my third most popular video because I've had 2 videos about city skylines and Windows 10 privacy that randomly became popular, netting 400 and 250,000 views. The point here is that 1, goal of becoming a valuable Plex resource on YouTube seems reachable, and 2, random videos you can do can randomly take off for no reason, so don't be surprised if they do. Seeing past my news stories and my Plex videos, I do want to be involved in computer technology. So although I don't have a lot of videos related to general computer parts now, I do plan on expanding this in the future. I know this is a saturated market and accomplishing this will be difficult. It's something I love though, so I really want to pursue it. I've learned a few things along my journey. One of my biggest lessons include being honest with my own personality. I tried to step outside my box and attempt to be entertaining or funny during one of my Plex videos, but it just kind of came off as weird and kind of backfired on me as well. It works like really good with YouTube and stuff. My second biggest lesson is to get to the point. I found that more people share my short attention span and want the information they came for as fast as possible. So if you want to make a video that includes too much talking to explain a subject, make sure to include a short link to take people directly to the main topic. Sometimes I want to talk about or explain what I'm doing, but a lot of viewers already understand what I'm doing and all they want to do is get their answer. So getting to the point or including a shortcut link in the video to the main topic will help avoid having people give up on your video. So I've come a long way since day one. My channel has grown to what it is now. I'm happy with my progress, but I do plan on growing in 2016. I recently got my first sponsored video thanks to Roswell, when I built my dedicated Plex Media server. Now I know this was only a case, but it meant a lot to me. It meant that a company saw enough value in myself and my channel to agree on helping me build my media server. So far the video hasn't gotten a ton of views, but it's still new, so I hope over time it will gain some popularity. Following that video, I'm in talks with another company to do a video about Plex on store-bought NAS devices. To do this video, they are looking at sending me a NAS to use during my test. Again, I know this isn't a huge deal to any big YouTuber, but for me, it means a lot. I feel like it's a huge milestone and a turning point for my channel. What about those plans for 2016 though? Well, so far I can say that from a hardware standpoint, I feel like I am close to having everything that I need. I've upgraded my computer to handle my 4K video editing, I have good audio, and my studio setup more or less fits my needs. A few things I see myself adding over the next year is a better tripod for better, smoother shots of hardware, a slider for different types of shots, and a 4K monitor for my computer. As for content, I have a few ideas to get me started, but a video I really want to do is one that compares a few of the main stream boxes available today. Ones like the new Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku. I'd like to compare each one of them side by side and see which one performs the best with Plex. But since I have no need for any upgrades in my own home, and to do this video would cost me at least probably $400, it's going to have to sit on the back burner for a while. This actually brings me to another topic of growth, Patreon. A little bit ago, I decided to sign up for Patreon with the hopes of finding support to grow. Since I am a small channel, I haven't really pushed it very hard because I don't really expect much to come from it. My intent though was to be able to afford the purchase of hardware for videos. So let's say, for example, I got $50 a month. After a few months, I could afford to buy an Apple TV to do my reviews and tests and then resell it for another device. After a few times of doing this, I would be able to compile my overall video comparing the 3 different players. After that was done, I could save up to build an entry-level media server. I could then produce videos about how I got them up and running, then run contests to give them away. This is actually one of my biggest goals with this channel. I want to get to a point where I can either afford to purchase these builds or get sponsorship from companies to build and give away entry-level media servers. Well, it doesn't always have to be entry-level, but you get the idea. To accomplish this goal though, I have to not only grow my subscriber base, but I also have to work on my social networking. I mean, right now my Twitter account has less than 50 followers. It's kind of sad. And the only way a company will consider you for sponsorship for these kinds of things is to have a following of some kind. So over the next year, I will work on getting more people to follow me on Twitter, raising capital to afford new devices for testing, and explore any hardware sponsorship I can find. Thankfully though, I do have a full-time job that supports me in my life, so the money I get from YouTube can all be used for channel growth. I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about, so now I'm going to take a moment and move on to the questions from my viewers. About a week ago, I started talking about this video, and I asked if anyone had any questions, and if they did, go ahead and post them and I would address them here. Okay, to start things off, Trop Monkey asked what the hottest topics I've done are. Well, I'd say that my most popular videos have been about gaming, or more specifically city skylines, and Windows 10 privacy, and then a Plex tutorial. Next, Suds1888 asked, why use Plex and not services like Netflix or Amazon Prime? I actually used to have a Netflix account and I constantly found myself looking for something to watch. It was a waste of money and I still had to buy the movies that I really wanted to see. So after a while, I just decided to make the move to Plex. David Lloyd asked, what is the size of your Plex server and do I use CloudSync? Well, David, all I can say is that I have enough content to keep myself entertained, but I choose not to give out specific details. I don't feel like having people judge or compare themselves to me because they have more stuff or their collection's better. I have what I need and it fits the needs that I have, so I'm happy with it. And no, David, I don't use any sort of cloud sync for media, but I do use my ISP's cloud drive to store some valuable data that I will always want backed up. You know, things like really old pictures and stuff. Okay, Jakealope asked, are you going to redo your Plex videos? Actually, I've been considering this lately, mainly because I have grown and learned a lot from when I first started. So when I recorded those videos, I feel like I probably lacked a lot in quality and I could redo them to add value. I'm still not sure which ones I will redo, but I can say that at least a few of them really deserve it. Wowcat asked, daily videos. No way. The first rule of YouTube is quality over quantity. Not only do I not have the time to do this, but even if I did, I don't have the topics for it. So if I moved to any kind of a daily video setup, it would all be junk and even I would unsub myself. Jez Wallace asked, what do you do for a living and how do you find time to create content? Well, I work for my cousin's property management business running the digital side of things. Anything from dispatching and organizing routes to dealing with paper jams pretty much is my responsibility. Throw in a little bit of web design and taking service calls and I really don't know what my official title is. But it pays well and it has steady hours, so I like it. As for time to create content, that just follows a schedule. On Monday nights, I dedicate myself to recording and editing my weekly news bits. And on the weekend, I work on my additional videos that I want to do. It gets difficult at times because I also shoot and edit wedding videos, so I have to kind of balance those in as well. David Casely asked, would I recommend Synology for his media server? Right now, I can't say yes or no, but here soon I might have a video that you will find useful, so stay tuned. Okay, that about sums up the questions for now, but I will also mention that a few people have made comments regarding my intro and outro. Some of them called it cringy, while others say it's just a little too long or old. I would say that yes, I do want to change them. I just need to figure out a good way to make them because, well, I kind of lack in the area of After Effects. Maybe at some point in this next year, I will make a better one though, so stay tuned. Well, I think this has been kind of a long video, so it's about time to wrap things up. Make sure to like and subscribe below, or better yet, check out my Twitter at _ByteMyBits. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.